I was brought up a certain way under studying the Shema, but when I got into college, it went a different way. And so I suddenly become part of the study group with the Stoics, the Essenes, Aristotle, Nietzsche, Spinoza, all of those tremendous thinkers. Kierkegaard, boy, what a group that is. Richard Dawkins, Paul Alinsky, and my favorite was Machiavelli, because he kind of summed the whole thing up. Do it to them before they do it to you. Well, that process really took me into a strange place, if you will. Now, I knew better to do that, and I am telling you that I am that prodigal son, but what allowed me to do it is I saw a picture of a rabbi who was just on his way to Auschwitz, to the gas chambers. And yet he's reading this book. There's no light around. And the light is coming from the book, and it's lighting him up. And he saw something in that book that was compelling to him. And then he was killed. Well, I got that picture painted, and it looks much like this. But as I dug into this, now keep in mind, this book called the Torah is literally outlawed from the churches, from the school system, from our government. And since it's outlawed from those, the families don't get a chance to read it. But as I studied it, and as I looked at it and started to define it, it showed up as, hey, it's the character of God. It's not a book of rules. It's a book of instructions on how to live, finances, food, nutrition, how you treat your neighbor. And if you hurt somebody emotionally, you are to go to them that day and settle it so that there is no anger. Anger and stress and indebtedness seems to be the absolute worst things that a Hebrew can enjoy. It's made up of covenants, agreements, first of all, in this world between man and God, that is absolutely so important. He said that if you will be obedient to me, then here's the blessings that will come. And after 20 or 30 years of working in this world, obedience is really easy because I trust what he's taught me. Well, I am that fertile seed that they put into ground because I really had some issues that had to be taken care of. And the instructions that were given me were incredible. I looked at them and it flew right in the face of what we were being taught. When you look at something and it's a gift, and the language is, within this book, there's nothing but freedom. When you can be obedient to that, and your obesity goes away, and your arthritis goes away, and there's clarity in your own mind. And now in my mid-80s, I have more drive than I've ever had, because this is something that I found myself the typical person sitting in the back of the room, not wanting to get involved. But as I read this book, it's the exact opposite, that I am really charged to go and find people that will invite me in so that we can have conversation about their issues. But the back of the room was really quite full with other people. So that was interesting to me, because someone has to come out. Someone has to take charge. Someone has to lead in this world of getting healthy. And I'm going to explain to you this book that gave me freedom. I looked at it, and the Torah is most interesting, and the story is simple. The rabbis that I read, they simply said that God looked into the Torah to design the earth. Now, that's an interesting story, because you see, if you're a builder, you go to the architect, he builds the architectural work, and then you go build according to the plans. Now, I was a pilot, and I recognize that you don't memorize the checklist. You read the checklist every time you get in that airplane. And so The word that came to me was, return to me, and I will return to you. That's a neat promise. The Hebrew word is shuv, and it's an active word, return. It's not a make a mental agreement, I'm going to change. No, this is you take it into consideration, and you return to the structure that sustains life. And that made me change so many things. But the change gave me health, financial health, physical health, emotional health, and it gave me purpose. The Torah gives this moral life an incredibly different story. I understand it, and I fuss with it every day, but it is so much easier for me to live by. And the creation itself reveals the presence of God in through nature, life, and universe. Now, I understand that the evolutionists have their viewpoint, the creationists have ours, but you know something? Here is the cell. And it's a simple thing. I don't care whether you want to argue it was created or whether it evolved. This is how it functions. And if you don't allow it to function, the cells in your brain, the cells they make up the body, you're going to have a catastrophe. And that's what I found. The Torah was engraved into a person that brings freedom. And every cell in the human body should reflect the Torah. And with that said, this group of people that are set apart because of their health, they are to be an example for folks. And they're literally turning the world around. You look at the blue zone, and here's a group of people that they studied all around the world that are living into their hundreds that are still healthy. They have 1/5 the amount of heart attacks, 1/6 the amount of cancer. And we're living in an incredible world, and here they're still functioning in their hundreds. Now here I am, I'm in my mid-80s, and I'm running around in the mountains. And it is such a glorious example to be. And when a person returns to that order, life becomes clear. They're healthy. Their relationships toward justice, wanting to be just and fair and right. What an incredible tool. And place these words of mine upon your heart and upon your soul. So if we could do that, to walk in a way that is justifiable to my Lord, that means health. Now, not everybody's going to do this, I understand that. But when we look at what's taking place in the world today, we need something, a plumb line, that says this is right, that's wrong. And that's my plumb line, is the Torah, which means the character of God. It also means a yoke. Well, I yoked up with my Messiah, and he said, my yoke is light, and I agree with him. So the secret that we're having that is impossible to see until you open this book. And slowly, I really began to listen to the words that I read years ago that I passed over. And basically speaking, the Torah is really a walk through troubled waters. And that's our story, mine anyway, is how I took a body that was beat up, that I did all by myself because I was stubborn, uninformed, and I wanted to do it a certain way. And on top of that, I was lonely through a lot of those years and wanted to be a part of another culture. And that other road was taking me down a situation that was not good. This one has given me freedom.